So, folks, whenever there is a disaster in the United States, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, they are the ones who come to the rescue. I am here broadcasting in Texas, in Houston. I've lived through 3 different hurricanes, flooding, you name it, these things have happened. And so FEMA is the federal agency that is often called. But who are they actually assisting? There's this amazing story that we saw today where Politico, they've been detailing how FEMA has really helped white homeowners as opposed in how they were really dealing with a racial disparity and who they have been helping. Thomas Frank is a reporter. He's been working on these stories. It's really amazing. First of all, Thomas, glad to have you here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. I read this story and it really jumped out at me, again, showing this racial disparity. We remember what took place in New Orleans when it came to Hurricane Katrina. Again, like I say, I'm from Houston. I've numerous hurricanes, talking about tornadoes. And so what did your reporting show, this disparity, and what jumped out at you?
So what the reporting showed, I looked at how has FEMA has given out about $2 billion over the past 30 years to homeowners to take steps to basically save their houses from being flooded. And what they end up doing is they do these projects where they elevate the home. They basically build a new foundation, lift it up 5 feet, 10 feet, so that you're above the flood level. And if you can get one of these grants from FEMA to do that, it's a great deal because your home is safe from flooding, your property value goes up, and the flood insurance premiums that you pay go way down. What I found, I looked at what communities were getting the money, and in most states, in almost every state, the money is going overwhelmingly to communities that are either white or rich, meaning their median household income is at least $100,000 a year, which is pretty rich. And the reason for that, it's not that FEMA sets out or Congress sets out to say, well, we're just going to give this money to rich people and white people. But what happens is that in order to get one of these grants from FEMA, and we're talking about $200,000, $300,000 that FEMA just gives you to hire a contractor to improve your home, in order to get one of these grants, you, a homeowner, first of all, you have to own your home, and secondly, you've got to contribute roughly $50,000 on your own. So if you take those 2 preconditions and look at them and compare to broad racial and ethnic patterns in the country, you end up with a very discriminatory program. In other words, white people are roughly twice as likely to own the home they live in as black people are. And when you look at just the amount of household wealth that white households have compared to black households, it's about 8 times as much. It's about $180,000 versus like $25,000. So when you look at who can actually have access to this money, in other words, who can afford to get money from FEMA, it's going to be people who have money and who own their homes. And that is overwhelmingly people who are affluent and people who are white. So it ends up being a discriminatory system.
Now that is what is amazing in terms of how you laid that out. And we often talk about the racial disparities in this country and how, on the surface, people will say, well, we don't see systemic racism. But when you're talking about who can afford it, well, if you don't have the discretionary income, then you can't actually do it. And then, of course, when you talk about those individuals who don't own homes, but they're renting a home or they're actually renting an apartment, I mean, they're screwed. And so with this reporting, what did FEMA say? Have you had any political leaders looking at this saying, hey, we should be making some type of adjustments to deal with this?
So what FEMA says, in short, is you're right. FEMA, since President Biden took office, has been doing a very sort of top-to-bottom review of how all of its programs, and FEMA has a lot of programs, how they are not equitable. And FEMA has acknowledged that a lot of the programs they have, the one I just described, and also just the emergency aid that they give after a disaster, have these built-in sort of funding mechanisms that aren't intentionally discriminatory, but they end up being discriminatory. And so FEMA has actually, to FEMA's credit, taken some steps in the last year to make it easier for African Americans, Hispanics, low-income homeowners, renters, and so on and so forth to get access to some of their programs, but not all of their programs. So FEMA basically says, yes, you're right, and we are working on it. There are a few leaders in Congress, Betty Thompson of Mississippi, who is now on TV as the chairman of the January 6th committee, and he's also chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee. And he has probably more than anyone in the House, at least, been really paying attention to this issue. And Elizabeth Warren, the senator from Massachusetts, also has been working on legislation to try to address some of these issues.
Wow. Well, first of all, we appreciate the reporting that y'all have done on this issue. And again, this is why journalism matters, because for on the surface, people would think this is no big deal. But trust me, when it comes to trying to keep your home, this is a huge deal. Tom, Frank, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward
Thanks
to
for having me.
More of these stories. Yeah, it's a great series that y'all are doing, because it's not just this story, several others dealing with FEMA. So I encourage everybody to go to Politico.com to check these stories out. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Roland.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
How about sushi?
I just had sushi for lunch yesterday.
How about tacos?
Automatic emergency braking, one of 6 advanced safety features standard on every 2022 Chevy Equinox. Find new technology. Find new roads. Chevrolet.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?